A lot of people talk about work-life balance as being extremely important, while others deny there even is such a thing. So where is this mystical, three-horned, six-legged creature called work-life balance anyway? Welcome to Q&A Topics with Unicorn Fuel. Today's topic comes from Justin on the East Coast, and he sounds like he's having marital trouble from spending too much time at work. And he came here. Damn. Well, before we declare the marriage dead on the scene, let's at least give it a shot. Here's the question. Hi, I'm a really hard worker and I put a lot of time into my job. Even when I get home and on weekends, it's hard for me to pull myself away from work and spend time with the wife and kids. I work this hard because I have financial goals and I want to meet those, and I love what I do. I understand my wife needs me to spend more time with the family, but the work I do makes our lives better. How do hard workers find the right balance? Thanks, Justin K. Justin, the work-life balance question. Thank you, buddy. The thing I love about this question is that it can be so polarizing. On one hand, we're told by a certain faction of people that you need to find balance between home and work to be truly happy. The work-life balance is the most important thing to consider.
Goodbye.
And these are the people that leave the office on time every day and are out of the office frequently for school functions, life events, things like that. It doesn't mean they aren't reliable, but they err on the side of putting their home life well above work requirements. On the other extreme, we're told that work-life balance is for suckers, or for those that are weak. Have you ever seen the movie Glengarry Glen Ross?
Put that coffee down. Coffee's for closers only.
Personally, I've oscillated between these two extremes quite a bit over the years. So here are a few things to keep in mind when you're thinking about work-life balance. First, think about the extent to which you love your job. If you love what you're doing, then it's important for you to spend time on it. Work, in this case, is a critical way for you to achieve a sense of value, purpose, or even define your self-image. By doing what you love, you're expressing your innate talents and skills in the world and getting a sense of satisfaction and achievement from everything you're doing. And in this case, it becomes paramount that you let your wife know how your work helps complete you as an individual. The second thing to point out is how your work supports your vision for the future, which is your family's future. This can be a difficult point to grasp for a lot of spouses, though. It's not because it's hard to understand, but because your wife has her own life that she's wrapped up in day after day. Your vision for the future may not be super obvious to her. So try to keep that in mind. She may be focused on how the time you're away from home is the time you could be helping her with the house, the kids, the appliances, the yard. Oftentimes, these differences in perspective can drive wedges or rifts between couples, and it's important to talk about that vision for the future together. That way, you're in alignment on where you're going and, more importantly, how you're going to get there. If you can show your wife how your career is a means to an end to meet the family's goals as well as your own, then you're on the path to victory, my friend. So the first part involves proactive communication of how your job is important both to you and the family, and try to look at that or communicate that with your wife's perspective in mind. The next thing you'll need to consider has to do with her response. It has to do with listening, because you're going to have to ask her about the vision you've laid out and make sure you get her perspective. So it isn't just your vision, it needs to become our vision. It needs to be a shared vision. What she tells you about her needs will be an important touchstone for your overall balance. The point is that to the extent to which you end up either sacrificing the time you spend at work, or to the extent that you don't, that's got to be a function of what she tells you and of the impact of what you've told her. So here's an example. A friend of mine has a successful career in business development, product implementations. And part of his compensation package involves bringing in new deals, which take a lot of time. Now, he's good at what he does and he enjoys it, but he and his wife have 3 kids. His wife definitely wants him at home so he can help with the kids, but he won't close as many deals if he rushes home every day after work. So how did they work it out? They sat down together and talked about what was important for their family. And after a couple hours, they both decided that paying off their house should be the priority. They reasoned that paying off the house would create unbelievable financial freedom that would set their family up for the future. The problem was they had 25 years left on a 30-year mortgage. So they set a plan to accelerate their payments dramatically and pay their house off in 10 years. This would involve the husband working late, around 3 nights a week, but being around in the morning to help get the kids ready for school. It would also involve a budget for the entire family and a limited number of vacations, both sacrifices that they were willing to make, but they were sacrifices. The net result, my buddy was able to put in the time necessary to advance his career. He's been promoted twice since then, and they're well on their way to hitting their 10-year goal, which is great. The best part is that the entire family is aligned on the goal, and his wife is super supportive because she sees very clearly the vision of him putting in time at work and how that helps the family. Now, once your spouse is on board, they can also keep you in check. Depending upon what was going on in our lives at the time, my wife's told me to work as much as I need to in order to achieve our joint vision for the future. And at other times, often reading my stress levels, she's asked me to take more vacations and spend more time outside, say in nature, going on hikes, etc. Early on in our marriage, I was putting in ridiculous hours. And when I say ridiculous hours, I'm not talking about 80 hours a week. No, I regularly put in 100-hour plus weeks in the midst of running a company of 125 plus people and multiple entrepreneurial ventures on the side. And that's not an exaggeration. Working hard is all I've ever known. But as you can imagine, it's hard for a spouse to get behind that. The answer for your family will be different. Perhaps you're building a business and you need to pour time into that to get it off the ground, or you're angling for that big promotion. No matter your end goal or how you go about it, the critical part is this: make your wife part of your plan and build a future together.